top story from the West African country Sierra Leone, where police have thwarted an attempted coup.
So it looks like soldiers in Sierra Leone have also taken inspiration from coup in Mali, Guinea, Burkina Faso, and Niger, and they are seeking to overthrow the government of President Mamady Bio. But as of based on the reporting that the video that we're coming to play for you, it is known that the coup was aborted. But it is important to note that Mamady Bio was recently elected for the second and final term in office on June 24, 2023, and he won with 56% of the total vote. Right now, there is a lot of support for coups in Africa, but we have to remember that there are implications. Military leaders often disregard term limits, and that obviously endangers democratic principles. And under their rule, human rights concerns come at the forefront. The press freedom, that's also a very big concern, press freedom being suppressed and limited freedom of speech for the general public. Placing trust in military leaders can be very problematic, as they tend to create, fictitious enemies that does not actually exist in any way, shape, or form, enemies of the state that doesn't exist in reality, just to justify their brutality, and in some cases to deflect people from the economic challenges facing their country. They often enrich themselves, targeting successful business individuals and seizing and freezing their assets with impunity, taking people's assets with impunity, and this often happens to civilians. So if we civilians are supporting these coups, I think we need to think twice, okay? If this trend continues in Africa, elections may become meaningless, because the removal of military leaders through elections is almost impossible. And as a result, the change in government will predominantly occur in Africa through military takeovers, which can, inevitably turn violent over time. So don't be carried away by all these bloodless coups. They will turn into bloody coups in the future. So despite our dissatisfaction with our leaders and also the West, because I know there is a lot of resentment against the West, they are seen as the puppet masters here, controlling and, remote controlling our leaders. That the solutions do exist, but we have to see ourselves as Africans. We have to see ourselves as part of that solution. For instance, African leaders, as emphasized by Professor Mulumba and echoed by the likes of, Kenyan President Uhuru Kenyatta, proposed that Africa should present a united front when engaging and negotiating with the West. So instead of individual African countries pursuing separate agreements, Africa could just act as one international actor. That will help us a lot to deal with powerful actors like the West, China, Russia, and all these, international actors and bodies. So additionally, we as Africans, each and every one of us has a role to play in this. We must acknowledge our role in selecting competent leaders. So we must desist from voting for people based on tribes and clans. This is a very big problem for Africa right now. It is essential that we, also change our mindset in order to preserve our democratic way of selecting leaders. Every one of us has a responsibility to contribute to a positive change in Africa.
Top story from the West African country Sierra Leone, where police have thwarted an attempted coup. The government was expecting peaceful protests following recent elections in the country, but rebels have used the events for violent actions. Our local correspondent, Nolavuyo Kange, has more details on the recent developments in Sierra Leone.
The general public is hereby informed that the security sector has been following intelligence regarding the activities of certain individuals, including senior military officers, working to undermine the peace and tranquility of the state and unleash violence on peaceful citizens of Sierra Leone. Preliminary investigations have revealed that these individuals plan to use purported peaceful protests between the 7th to the 10th of August 2023 as a guise to unleash violent attacks against state institutions and peaceful citizens.
Well, let's cross it live to Ibrahim Traore, a local journalist in Sierra Leone now. Many thanks for joining us on the programme. Now, we understand the government there says they have derailed a plot against the government. Can you give us more details about the situation, please?
Yes, indeed. Once again, thank you so very much for having me. Indeed, that's so very true the case. The fact is that yesterday at around 5 p.m., we saw a release from the Sierra Leone police. We are in the stated in that release that they've already arrested personnel within the Republic of Sierra Leone. The armed forces of the Republic of Sierra Leone. They just mentioned that senior officers within the Republic of Sierra Leone are believed to have plotted a coup against, the government. And this is not too far from what happened. I believe the world is also aware of the August 10th protest, which left the lives of 30 young people in Israel. And they are planning, from according to the release, the police is claiming that they are planning a protest between the 7th and the 10th of August. And so for that reason, some big names within the army, they are now in police nets. Before this call, I made a call to the media and the center of the Sierra Leone police to solicit information in relation to perhaps the personnel who have been arrested. But to now, no names were mentioned. They just said it is indeed true that they've made arrests of some senior personnel within the Sierra Leone army, and those personnel are currently helping the police with investigation in relation to a planned coup that they said, have been organized. But mind me, before even this press release that came out, recently there were some protests by traders within one of the popular streets in Freetown that is called Aborted Street, wherein these traders they had some disturbance with the Sierra Leone police, wherein they were asked to evacuate their main place of doing business. And so this is also connected to that event. So yes, it is indeed true that the Sierra Leone police said they've arrested key officers within the army of Sierra Leone that are currently helping them with investigations.
Yeah, we understand that this comes following the recent elections, with opposition parties actually protesting the results themselves. Is it clear if it has anything to do with the coup attempt?
I don't think it has something to do with the coup attempt. Because yes, indeed, as we speak, still the main opposition, the All People's Congress Party, members that were elected to represent their constituents in parliament are still not, they've still not taken their seats in parliament. Their seats are still vacant. But nonetheless, this coup, I believe, has no link. As we speak, there are no statements linking the said coup to that of the unrest that was happening in Sierra Leone. The only thing that I will confirm here at the moment is that, indeed, people are still crying as it has to do with the cost of living and other economic inputs that are still being very difficult for people to access. Currently in Sierra Leone, there is a problem of onion scarcity, even though, yes, authorities are claiming that the scarcity of onions also could be linked to this press release that they issue. That's what most politicians are saying. Politicians from the main ruling party, Sierra Leone People's Party, they are saying that the scarcity in onions is also, is also a gimmick, just a political gimmick that could be linked to this coup that the police is claiming that, yes, indeed, some officers are currently helping them with investigation. But to say the recent political unrest could be linked to that of the release, there has never been a statement of such. And currently, as we speak, there is the parliament is currently sitting, and it comprises just officers within the ruling SLPP and some paramount chiefs, and there is no member within the opposition within the parliament as we speak.
Could you talk us through how people in Sierra Leone are responding to this coup attempt? What's the mood like among people there?
Well, people are actually going through their normal businesses, but of course, when the release was issued out, there was a sort of panic amongst the populace, because whenever a coup is mentioned, it's not something that daily lives do appreciate. Also on normal days. So when this release was issued by the Sierra Leone police, it brought about shock in the minds of many people, because so many people, even within the force, because I have some friends within the Republic of Sierra Leone Armed Forces, and I even have some connections with even the top names within the armed forces. I called the heads to ask, who are these individuals within the force that they are pointing fingers at? But within the public, I would say the atmosphere is very much serene, it's quiet. People are going about their normal businesses, but it's what about this awareness amongst many as to what might have been the actual situation. Because as I said, we had a mentioned coup, it's not a situation of normalcy. It brings about absolute, it's one that has no semblance with normalcy. Whenever I mention coup,